Hey, what's going on everyone? This is iReviews back with another video, and today we're talking about iOS 18.4. Now, we're currently on the first beta of iOS 18.4 and it has been an amazing update. Until now, we have been able to discover about 50 new features and changes that Apple has added to this new update, even though we didn't get the new Siri features, but we're going to talk about that in a minute here. Otherwise, we got a lot of cool new features and changes that of course make iOS 18 way better. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the second beta of iOS 18.4, what to expect from it, and of course, when it will be released. But first of all, let's quickly talk about some more features and changes that we have been able to discover on the first beta of iOS 18.4. Now with iOS 18.4, Apple has done a few improvements on the control center, and one of them is right here. You can see when you go to your cellular data, if you have two or more phone numbers on your iPhone, then you will have these little arrows right there which allow you to tap, and it allows you to actually switch the line from here. So you will have your cellular data, you will have your lines. You can go to the settings from here, or you can switch quickly between your two lines directly from here. Of course, when you switch there, you're switching between different lines and choosing from which line you want to use cellular data. Now these arrows have actually appeared everywhere. You have them on the focus mode, you have them on the phone app and on the Bluetooth and AirDrop, as well as you can see right here, as well as the Wi-Fi connection. A smaller change here has happened on the Passwords app as well. As you can see right here, we have the icons with the three locks right there. This is the default icon of this app. But now, even when you go into the Passwords app, you will see this new icon everywhere. Previously, it used to be an icon with just one key. Now you will have the stock app icon with three keys, and you will see it everywhere within the app. And what I have been able to notice here is also this little icon right there, a speaker icon that actually now shows up on the dynamic island. I'm not 100% sure this is new, but I've never seen it before on my iPhone. So whenever I'm playing a video or something like that on a browser, it does show up right there on the dynamic island. So you will have basically the volume bars right there on the right side, while on the left side, you will have a little speaker icon. And if you go to your settings on iOS 18.4 Beta 1 and head on under accessibility right here, if you use VoiceOver, what you can do now is go to audio and you will have a new setting here to always use Siri sounds. Now when you have this enabled, you will see here the explanation. Siri will always play a sound when it starts to listen. Otherwise, it will use the default behavior. So you can you can disable this if you don't want it, because it's actually enabled by default. And now let's talk about the second beta of iOS 18.4. There are a few new features that we expect Apple to add to the second beta of iOS 18.4. And it looks like finally we're getting visual intelligence on the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. Now, it should have been here way before. Apple has just added that feature to the new iPhone 16e, even though it doesn't have the camera control button. There's the feature there, and it looks like they're also adding it to the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max. Now, it will most likely be the exact same as on the iPhone 16e. The way to actually invoke the feature will be using the action button. So you head onto your settings and you will have here an option to set up visual intelligence to be triggered using the action button. Another way will be, of course, the control center. So on the control center, you will have a new button that you can add. It should look something like this, similar to this one. And from there, you will be able to actually invoke the visual intelligence feature, which is also, of course, a part of the Apple Intelligence features and cannot be added to older iPhones. It will most likely added with the second or maybe even the third beta to the iPhone 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, which of course do support the new Apple Intelligence features. Another thing I would expect to come to iOS 18.4 Beta 2 will be a change here on the settings, actually on the account section of the podcast app. So currently on the first beta, we have a new section here called Device Settings, where you can go to podcast settings or notification settings directly from within the podcast app. Now they are there, but they don't function. You can tap on them, it doesn't open anything, and most likely they will be updated with the second beta and will have their proper functions. There is also a new set of emojis coming to your iPhone with iOS 18.4. Most likely that will be a part of the second beta of iOS 18.4. Now this was actually expected to be part of the first beta. It didn't come. Most likely the all new emojis, the new section of emojis, and actually the new packages of emojis will be coming to your iPhone with the second beta of iOS 18.4. Now, as far as the new Siri features goes, well, you will have basically personal context knowledge. You will have the ability for Siri to actually make in-app actions, and that will work with stock apps of iOS, but also third-party apps. That is basically a feature that Apple has pushed for iOS 18.5. Now this has actually been reported as well. These features, of course, were expected to come with 18.4, but due to engineering problems, they will be coming with iOS 18.5. So if you have been excited about those features, don't expect them to come with iOS 18.4, even though there's plenty of time until this update releases to the public. They won't be coming until iOS 18.5. And now quickly let's talk about the performance and battery life of iOS 18.4 Beta 1. Now I'm hoping that with the second beta there will be improvements to the performance on iOS 18.4, even though the score is not that bad because the single core score is actually slightly higher than iOS 18.3, but we have a lower score there on the multi-core score. Now keep in mind this is an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and this is the score that I got just minutes ago with the Geekbench 6 app. 2,946 on the single core score, while the multi-core score is at 7,370, which is not that bad, but it used to be a bit better on the multi-core score, 7,500 with iOS 18.3, but of course that was a test on the final release of iOS 18.3. So with the second beta and of course the next releases of iOS 18.4, I would expect this score to actually improve more. Now, as far as the battery life goes, if we go right here, we can take a look at the battery life of iOS 18.4 Beta 1. You can see the battery health is at 91%, and then we have the last 10 days. So right here with about 125% battery, 11 hours, 12 minutes. Right here we have about 75% battery, 5 hours, 37 minutes. And then right here with about 100% battery, 6 hours, 53 minutes. It's not the best ever, but of course, keeping in mind that this is a beta 1 is actually not that bad. Hopefully it will even improve with the second beta and of course the next releases of iOS 18.4. So when to expect the new release? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Apple actually releases iOS 18.4 Beta 2 as soon as tomorrow. So March the 3rd or the 4th are the dates that I expect Apple to release the second beta to the devs of iOS 18.4, hopefully containing all these features we talked about and probably even more. Just taking a look at the many features that they have added to the first beta, I would expect to see another 20 or 30 new features and improvements with the second beta of iOS 18.4. And as you probably know by now, the public release of iOS 18.4 will happen somewhere here, most likely on the 7th or the 8th, or the next week then, the 14th of April. But from the 7th to the 14th, these are the 2 weeks when you can expect iOS 18.4 to be released to the public. So that is it for this video, guys. Hope you guys found this video helpful and you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to smash that like button and of course subscribe for more videos, and I will see you on the next one.